Hey guys, this girl got game. Welcome back to England Exchange, where this time we are dating Mr. Marky Moo, and I'm excited for his route. First of all, can't do worse than Brendan. Second of all, can't do worse than Brendan. And third of all, is an actual reason, which is Mark has been in the back as a dark horse, slowly whittling away at my heart, because I love every interaction with Mark. I think he's a great guy. Everyone's like, Mark's really weird and stuff. And I'm like, I feel like he's the most normal of everybody here? Question mark? So I'm going to see if that holds true continuing forward, or if I'm going to be like everyone else afterwards and be like, no, Mark is kind of strange. But anyway, I'm starting here talking to... Is it Jinsu? Yeah. Talking to Jinsu about our love life with regards to ladies, and we haven't picked this option yet with him. So it's gonna be our last chance to do that, because actually we will have this for oh man, I keep getting Jinsu and Jihyo mixed up. Well, I'll do not yet anyway. Might do that with Jihyo's route as well. I've barely been here 24 hours.
Well, keep your eyes open. You never know.
Okay. Thanks, Jinsu. Oh, and right after that, of course, was the Mark scene. Professionalism at its finest. We're off to a strong start. Alright. After a hard day's work, finally, it was dinner time. The hostel had a dining area where everybody could eat, next to the kitchen. People could order in or could gather together to eat a group meal. With that in mind, I crept into the kitchen, hoping to find something simple I could make. When I entered, I discovered Angelo, Peggy, and Ashley were sitting around the larger table, each taking something from a platter of vegetables and noodles. Another guy I hadn't met before was also there. That must be Mark, the one Danny said was cute.
I really hope you like it. I worked hard on it.
It's free food. I'll definitely like it. You'd make a good wife, Ashley.
You think so?
Ashley flushed as Angelo laughed heartily.
You belong in the Stone Age, Angelo.
What? It was a compliment. She's not mad about it.
That's beside the point.
And that set them both off, shouting insults back and forth. Mark, sitting nearby, watched with wide eyes. I tried to figure out a way to casually approach and join the group, but I wasn't sure what to do. It'd probably look bad if I just walked up and asked to eat some of their food, especially since I didn't help make it. Maybe it would be better to come back later and take a peek in the fridge. I started out of the kitchen, but before I could make it out the door, I locked eyes with Ashley.
Oh, Malia! Are you hungry? I made stir-fry if you want some. I'm sure there's plenty for all of us.
Really? Are you okay with that?
Of course!
Despite Ashley's assurances, I glanced at the others. Peggy and Angelo were still at each other's throats, but Mark offered me a smile and gestured to the seat next to him. I sat down nervously. Thank you. It looks really good. Ashley got a plate for me and spooned food onto it, while Mark got me a glass of water.
Just can't comprehend that your way of life is totally...
Maybe if you calmed down a little, it wouldn't be so...
Don't mind them. They've been at it all day.
Really?
Yeah. It's a bit rough, but I'm sure they both mean well.
It's interesting to see people with such dynamic opinions.
And you guys aren't going to stop them?
I don't want to get involved. I don't like to fight with anyone.
I glanced at Mark, who shrugged.
Everything ends one way or another. I mean, these kinds of things are interesting to discuss, but as long as it's not directly affecting me, it doesn't have any meaning.
What? What does that mean? There was an odd tension in the air. A few seconds later, I realized Peggy had stopped arguing with Angelo and was instead staring at Mark.
How can you say that you don't care about anything that doesn't affect you personally?
Does that mean if you saw someone in pain, you wouldn't do anything to help them because it wasn't you who was hurting?
Oh? No, that's not what I meant. I just meant that if how someone else is behaving isn't causing direct harm, or if it's just a theoretical concept that isn't harming anyone in practice that I can see, I won't bother with it.
But theoretical concepts can harm people.
I suppose.
Well? Mark seemed to consider Peggy's point for a few moments, then shrugged.
I can't really be bothered.
Ugh! Peggy stood and grabbed her half-full plate. I can't stand people like you! She marched off in a huff. Angelo chuckled as he watched her go.
Thanks for having my back, man.
Angelo held out his hand for a high five. Mark looked at it with interest.
Your palm is quite nice, but I wasn't doing it for you. Huh? It does seem pointless, don't you think? What? I mean, everyone dies. Life is short. So I don't think you should argue so much. It's a waste of time.
Angelo grunted and went back to his food.
Well, Mark, since you're new here, how do you like it?
It is very nice. Everyone is very friendly.
Aw, that's sweet. Don't you think, Angelo?
Angelo grunted again. He didn't seem particularly interested in the conversation anymore.
Well, anyways, what brought you here, Mark?
Mark frowned.
Exploration.
Oh, that's nice. Are you at uni, or did your family send you here?
I don't think that's important enough to spend time talking about.
He tilted his head to the side and smiled.
I don't like people prying into my past, if you don't mind.
I set my fork down, surprised. Did Mark want everybody to hate him, or was he seriously just accidentally pissing everybody off? I don't understand that bit, because I'm like, I feel, if you're a private person, you don't really want to get into it. That's like one of the most politest ways you can say, I just don't feel like talking about it, if you don't mind. And instead of just like, he's just pissing people off left and right. Ashley, her cheeks gone pale from nerves, anxiety, anger, nodded and picked up her plate.
I'm going to go clean up now. It was nice eating with you.
Yes, I agree. Thank you so much for your food and conversation. I hope we can do this again.
Ashley shot him a puzzled glance. Angelo stood and handed his plate to Ashley, then lumbered out of the room. With nobody else left, Mark turned to me.
So, what brings you here?
He seemed almost cheerful, as if completely unaware of what he'd just done. Did you not notice what just happened there?
What do you mean?
Well, we can, be forthright with him. You insulted everyone.
What? I have not insulted anyone.
You made everybody angry and uncomfortable. That's why they left. You were mean. Do you really not see it?
But I am not insulting people. That is not what is happening.
Aw, we made Mark sad. No, Mark. Mark frowned and shook his head.
I am leaving, yes?
Then he, like everybody else, took his plate and left. Well, that was a great dinner, wasn't it? I finished my food alone. Interesting. That didn't go quite the way I thought it would go. Oh, whatever, Aussie. Yeah. Okay. He's like, well, I guess I'm leaving too then, since you insulted me. It was the first thing in the morning. I had barely woken up when I heard a soft knock on my door. I opened it and looked out to see Mark. Yes? What are you doing here?
Hello. So... I wanted to apologize.
Apologize? For what?
The other night at dinner. After reflecting a bit on what you said, I realized that you were correct. I insulted everybody at the table, including you, and was rude about it. I didn't see the error of my own ways. I'm apologizing to everybody else as well, but I wanted to make sure you knew that I appreciated your words.
I wasn't sure how to respond. To tell the truth, I was shocked. It was such a direct, simple, straightforward apology. I rarely ever received a straightforward apology, even in situations that deserved it, like a huge fight among friends or family. Now a total stranger was apologizing to me for remarks most people would simply have forgotten about. Well, thank you.
It's no problem. But may I tell you something?
I blinked at him, and after a moment's hesitation, he continued.
I have been very confused. I don't think I can talk to people very well normally without them becoming angry. Since the other night, I've been noticing it in almost everybody I talk to.
It was worse than I thought.
It's been a bit of a problem because I think everyone's avoiding me now. People are not so sensitive in France as they are here.
He laughed merrily, but I didn't see the joke. Was he French then? He didn't sound French to me. Maybe I was too used to parody French accents?
Well, I don't want to put on a charade and pretend to be something I'm not, or to respond less than honestly to them. But my genuine responses seem to arouse anger. It's a conundrum. What should I do about it?
I'm gonna try this one this time. Maybe it's in the phrasing? I think you're phrasing your opinions too bluntly. I'm pretty sure there are ways you could put it, you could put what you want to say that don't seem quite so aggressive.
Ah, I see.
He tapped the tip of his chin with a slender finger.
It seems I'll have to give this more thought. Anyways, thank you for your help. You are a very kind person. I know, I realize that I'm probably not the easiest person to deal with. Thank you for dealing with me.
He beamed at me, and my heart felt oddly lighter.
You know, I'm usually by myself reading books in the library, up in the philosophy section. You should come visit me sometime.
He waved happily and skipped off down the hallway. Considering he was now aware that no one around here liked him, it was odd that he was so happy. Oh well, with that done, it was time to get on with my day. Oh, Mark, you're such a positive spirit. Hi, Peggy. I'm not going to try out with you. And we won't bother with GQ. I will say sure I'll help because we actually talk to Mark, I think. I'll just start from here.
Malia, you are tops. You're the very best person I've ever met in my life. Ever. Take this.
She miraculously materialized an additional clipboard and pencil from God only knows where and handed them to me.
If you can just get Angelo and Mark, everything will be fine. I can handle the rest. They're too nice to say no.
She clapped my shoulder and beamed, then sauntered off towards Danny's room. So, it was up to me. I found Mark first. I was surprised that Peggy didn't want to talk to him herself, but at the same time it made sense. He was a nice guy, but it was probably easy for him to come off as creepy, especially towards women. Still don't see it. In any case, it took only a few minutes of explaining the purpose of the petition for Mark to point out every flaw in Peggy's plan, from funding to the disruption that construction would cause to the fact that the university already had a carbon-neutral goal statement.
Regardless, I admire her spunk. I'll sign.
With one signature down, I moved on to Angelo, who I found sprawled across the couch in the living room, a magazine on his face. I'll just skip through this, because we've seen this part before. But now, we can finally go visit Mark in the philosophy section. Heyo! I looked around the philosophy section and spotted Mark sitting at a table. He had a wide array of books spread in front of him, so for a moment I wondered if I should bother him. Then he looked up, saw me, and waved me over.
Malia, it is good to see you.
Hi. I took a seat quietly and lowered my voice. It was a library, after all. I was thinking that, like, don't shout my name in the library. So, you study philosophy?
All study is philosophy. The word means the love of wisdom.
But isn't philosophy one of those abstract concepts that you said wasn't important?
The belief that abstract concepts are less important than living concerns is itself a philosophy.
From there, the conversation got a bit convoluted. Still, Mark was never angry when I disagreed with him, or had to ask him to explain a term he was using. He was an interesting person to talk to. Weird, but interesting. I mean, he seems like a pretty upstanding guy. Yeah, we'll help Danny, as long as we're not helping Peggy. Oh, hello. I passed by Mark in the hall. He was singing softly to himself in a language I didn't understand. I glanced at him questioningly and he laughed. Oh my. Is that Russian? I don't know how to say this.
Ti takoi slavny.
Huh? Yep. But he just went into his room without explaining. Great, now I gotta look that up. That was definitely not French. What did he say? Who was Mark anyway? Well, I wasn't going to get any answers today. Well, now I'm gonna be wondering about that for a while. Oh, we're reading a book he recommended to us? Awesome. That's so great. Get to talk to the X this time.
What's that book about?
It's something Mark recommended. It's pretty complicated, all about explaining the ideas of famous philosophers through the natural world.
Oh, sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm. Bye. Okay, we're gonna get away from you. Blech. Run away. Okay. I was sitting in the library working on an essay for my literature class about how Thomas Hardy's life experience affected the morals of his novels. I had been hard at work for some time when I suddenly heard a voice behind me. Yeah, hello to you too, Mark.
That is wrong.
Excuse me?
You are misunderstanding the meaning of literary realism.
You're reading my essay over my shoulder?
Yes.
That's a bit creepy.
It is not private, is it? You will show it to your professor, your class.
And I might offer it to someone else to proofread or comment on, but that would be my choice. He hadn't asked.
I apologize if I upset you. I was passing by and saw that you were working. I did not wish to disturb you until I saw what you were writing.
Now you listen here, sir. You know what? I'll save, but I'm inclined to let Mark just help us. Mark, help? There we go. Yeah. Let the boy help. He's got good intentions. He's not trying to piss you off. I suppose you may as well read the whole thing, then. I handed over the paper and the assignment instructions. It couldn't hurt to get another viewpoint, right? Most of his comments turned out not to be relevant to my particular class, but they did make me think of a few things I could add on my own. Nice. Thanks, dude. I do get it. Reading over the shoulder is something that annoys the crap out of my husband. I don't care if people are reading over my shoulder. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry, I'm so tired I accidentally said yes. Yeah, but it bugs PC Outcast to no end, and I always catch myself doing it, and then I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that again. Right, this one. I forgot about this, that there was a second thing. We always help Aussie. Not this time. While I was eating breakfast with Mark, Jihyo, and Aussie, James came in.
You...
The yard again. He closed his mouth and nodded.
Bushes need trimming. By tonight or you're out.
He left the room. We traded looks. There weren't a whole lot of bushes around the hostel, so it shouldn't be too large a job, but it was still February, still cold, and this still wouldn't be much fun. We went outside. Mark walked away and returned with 3 pairs of garden shears. He gave one to Jihyo and one to Aussie, then shrugged at me.
There were only 3.
With that, he went to the end of the walkway. Aussie humped and went to the other, while Jihyo started by the front steps. I like that he offered it to the other girls and was like, well, there's only 3, so I'll take the last one, and whatever. Well, I couldn't just lead them to it, could I? Who should I help? Mark! Hey, can I help you with that? Mark glanced over his shoulder at me, then laughed.
Of course not.
Wait, what?
I'll do it. I'm more suited to working in the cold than you anyways.
Oi, that's a bit rude. Oi, wow, she really is getting British. Mark shrugged.
Sit and talk with me. I'd like that. I think that'd be nice.
Okay. Immediately she's like, okay. I started off trying to ask him questions, but his replies were so short nothing came of it. Instead, I started telling him the differences between the Grimm and Perrault versions of popular fairy tales. I'd had to do a report on it in high school once, and it seemed like a good way to entertain him. He smiled as he listened right up until he finished. That's kind of cute. Just talking. Yes. I like these Mark interactions so far. Pretty good. Don't know how things are gonna go with the whole thieving stuff later. But we'll find out. You know what? I'm gonna try and stay friendly with Angelo, even though we're not interested. Sorry, Peggy. Oh, hi. When I came across Mark that day, he was nose deep in Sun Tzu's The Art of War. What are you reading? He was so engrossed. I like that she saw what he was reading and asked, what are you reading? That's one of my pet peeves. I'm like, I always just hold up the cover and then go back to reading. I'm like, you can see what I'm reading. He jumped violently, the book flying nearly a foot out of his hands.
What? Nothing.
What? There's a book right there. You're holding it right in front of me.
No, it's nothing. I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. Well, let's talk about something else then.
Yeah.
Did you have a book inside the book? Suspicious face. Mark agreed, but he was staring at the floor, trembling slightly. Are you sure you're okay? You're acting pretty weird. He leaned over to the side of his chair and picked up a rose from off the floor? Excuse me, where do you get off being smooth enough to just have a rose around? Where did you get that?
It's for you.
I have questions. He held out the rose, His trembling was magnified by the rose stem, and it shuddered in the air, almost as if it were dancing. I took it just to stop its movement. Was he holding it, waiting for it to come by? Is the rose like a distraction technique from what he was doing? I don't know. I don't know how to take this. Yeah, I'm with you, Malia. Thank you? My acceptance of the rose seemed to give him some confidence because he stood up and then kneeled below me. Okay. What are you doing? What's happening here? He cleared his throat, then held out his hand as if delivering a monologue to Yorick's skull. Okay, low-key though, this is like the most romantic thing that could ever happen in my brain. It's like a library, a rose, guy kneeling down about to like deliver a sonnet or something. Major bonus brownie points for Mark right now.
My dearest Malia, the star of my eyes.
Oh god.
You are the sun in my day, the skip in my step, the peanut butter to my jelly. You are a cinnamon candle in winter.
Mark, it wasn't just the bad non-poetry, it was how strange it sounded while he said it. Anyone else would have been horribly embarrassed, but he said it plain, as if he were reading facts off a list. How can you not love You Are a Cinnamon Candle in Winter? That is lovely. I'm like, oh, this is so sweet. She's like, you weirdo. It's not non-poetry, it's Shakespearean. It doesn't rhyme for a oh man. Uncultured! All of you are uncultured!
You are what gets me up in the morning and what keeps me going. You have been overtaking my mind as of late. You have possessed me, body and soul.
Ah, I love that quote so much. He swallowed again and glanced wildly around the room. After a moment of awkward silence, I realized he'd forgotten what he was going to say. Dang, poor boy's been rehearsing up in here. A blush spread across his cheeks. In that moment, he looked genuine.
All in all, you have no idea how much you mean to me. And I would very much like to date you and try to make you as happy as you have unknowingly made me.
Man, now that's like Pride and Prejudice line right there. He's just continuing with them Pride and Prejudice lines. Perfect. Perfect. Good. Good. He nodded firmly and finally looked at me, marking the end to his speech. Wait, I had to respond! Please stand up. I feel weird talking to you when you're kneeling.
Oh, sorry.
He stood and we looked at each other in an uncomfortable silence.
That was very strange, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. I've never really thought about this.
It's okay.
I'd always treated Mark as a friend, nothing more. To be honest, we hadn't really had all that much of a connection, hardly more than a few regular conversations. Nothing seemed to mark him as obviously interested in me before today, yet here we were. Maybe this was just the way he was. But it was too sudden for me to know conclusively whether I wanted to date him, especially in any sort of exclusive way. How should I respond? Like, smash the button, go! Get him! He's perfect! I haven't really thought of you in that way before. I don't want to turn you down flat, though. Maybe if we took some more time to think about it.
Yes!
I flinched.
That was more successful than I expected. So, does that mean that you'll let me pursue you? Give you chocolates and tell you how great you are and stuff?
Sure? I mean, if you really want to.
I really want to! Awesome! Sweet! Now I get to show you how much I appreciate you.
Who was this man who possessed no guile? How could he be so straightforward about things?
Expect to see more of me in the future.
Okay?
Oh, but I have a test to study for, so can you leave me alone for now?
Sure. I'm sure I could use the time away even more than he could.
Perfect. Thank you so much. You're the best.
I nodded curtly, and he collapsed back into his chair, a happy smile on his face. I left the library, the cool English air helping to clear my mind. So, that just happened. I guess if that's what he wants to do, I shouldn't stop him. Girl, for real though, if you're not into it, you shouldn't have said yes. But I mean, like, I'm in control. We're doing the Mark route. But shouldn't be like, well, I mean, maybe he went to a lot of effort, so we'll just see where it goes. If it goes anywhere at all. If I have my way, it's gonna work. Mind racing, I returned to the hostel and put the rose in a glass in my room. What now? What did Mark even do for fun other than read? Well, that might be something for me to find out. Something to look forward to. That was great! I loved it.